There's a common misconception that in Chinese, the word for crisis is made up of two characters signifying danger and opportunity. Now, that's not true, but it does make for a great outlook on life. And as COVID turned the world upside down the last couple of months, most people would rightfully call it a crisis. For others, though, it's been an opportunity. While the masses dug in to weather the storm, a few businesses have been riding waves of enormous growth. Just like Zoom went from obscure Skype knockoff to mainstream necessity, in ortho, one company in particular has seen their course change almost overnight. If smile assessments and online consults are a gold rush, these guys are selling picks and shovels. To share their journey from startup to AAO-endorsed in only 14 months, we'll be joined tonight by SmileSnap co-founder and CEO, Mr. Greg Pellegrom. Don't go anywhere, it's time for some straight talk. Hello and welcome to episode 6 of Straight Talk. My name's Tracy Martin and I'm the founder and lead consultant at Straight Consulting. With me as always are my co-hosts and fellow consultants, Scott Caldwell and Janelle Baum. Welcome guys.
What's up, Scott and Tracy? How are you guys? How's your week going?
It's good.
I'm having a good week.
Yeah, no complaints. I mean, we are starting to see some light at the end of this tunnel, I think.
Yes, and I lost 10 pounds this week. Boom.
No way.
Drop the mic. That happened.
Well, not just this week. It's been over the last couple of weeks. It's
Okay.
progress.
Okay, yeah, but today the scale said what it needed to say. So that's all that matters. I've lost my COVID-15 or whatever everybody's calling it.
Well, you look like $1,000,000.
Yeah, she like most of us put on the COVID-15, but I've been really impressed. I mean, you've changed up some diet. You've been getting some more exercise. I mean, with businesses reopening and bathing suit season almost upon us.
Ladies, just message me. I'll tell you the true secret. The FDA wouldn't be happy if I announced it. So it's fine.
One word: tapeworms. No.
You guys are hysterical. Well, I don't know if you recognize a little something different about me.
Yeah, your hair
but
looks
I
great.
finally made it to the salon. I haven't been there since February, so this was huge. So I got a fun spunk of orange going through there, and you know me, I'm sure it'll change by the next time I get my hair appointment. But yeah, it's been a good week.
No, hallelujah. I'm so jealous.
hot.
I haven't had a haircut since the first week of March. And then my beard, in solidarity, is also boycotting a razor. So, you know, no one here wants to be a scab and cross the picket line. So we're just going full Duck Dynasty for the next.
We're so close to Duck Dynasty with you.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
Start calling me Jip.
Oh, jeez. All right.
Change your headshots. All right, what do we have?
All right, well, let's get to it. Tonight's guest has been on a whirlwind ride the last 14 months. His company wasn't even a year old when COVID hit, but he has definitely found himself at the right place at the right time. Leading the charge on smile assessments from his top secret command center in Denver, Colorado, co-founder and CEO of SmileSnap, please welcome Greg Pellegrom.
Yay!
Welcome.
Thanks for having me. Sorry I couldn't get my background working and I got stuck in the office. So I wish I could have joined you in person, but I'm there in spirit.
No, all good, all good. Happy to have you. I do think it's important to say before we really jump in here, for those of you joining us, this is only episode 6 of the show, and we've mostly had docs. We had Jill Allen on for a minute, but who was awesome. But we do want to say, definitely at the top of the show here, that this is not in any way a paid sponsorship, although we appreciate that Greg has money and wouldn't mind it for other reasons.
Sure.
It did not help him get on this show. We're actually just really excited about everything that they're doing as a company and wanted to spotlight that growth and innovation. So if you are interested in sponsorship, that's a separate conversation. You can reach me at scott@straightconsulting.com. But that's neither here nor there. So let's get to it.
Greg, I want to start off by, I want to hear the story. How did this company come about? Where did you come into play here? And how did your business partner come into play here? Let's get the roots.
Yeah, absolutely. I love giving the background. As an entrepreneur, you look back and realize that, the journey is truly an incredible part of the story. And so for me, I got into orthodontic sales way back in January of 2013. I had become a victim of the dot-com bubble burst, for those of you who remember that. And I thought healthcare was a more stable industry. And I was doing some interviewing with healthcare companies. And the one that really I fell in love with and resonated a lot with me was 3M Unitech, where I, basically cut my teeth. And as a sales professional in orthodontics, I immediately fell in love with the type of selling that it was. It was very consultative. It was relationship based. I enjoyed getting to know my doctors, their team members, their practice, and what it was all about, and then getting in there on a routine basis. And it just instantaneously was a natural fit for me. Over about 15 years in a few different companies, I got to the point in my career where my kids were getting a little bit older and I was wanting to try something different. And, for me, a lot of my docs are good friends of mine. And I found myself hearing more and more how challenging things were becoming for them around getting new patients, right? Whether it was just other competitors in the area and the number of orthodontists, to changes that were taking place, within the larger groups and dental service organizations that were coming into the area. They were finding it more and more challenging to get new patients through referring dentists, which had been obviously part of their traditional model for many, many years. And then the big one that came along was Smile Direct Club and the direct-to-consumer model. And for me, when I looked at that from a consumer standpoint, right, I understood the convenience and the ease and the appeal of it all. But I also, too, wasn't sold on the quality of care and that patient journey throughout it. So what happened, I was kind of racking my brain about wanting to do something different. And I knew that there had to be a better way of conducting a consultation for orthodontics than the way it had traditionally been done for decades. People value their time so much, and they want things to be convenient. We want information now. And we were coming home from the mountains one Sunday, and I turned to my wife and I said, do you think people would just take some pictures of their own teeth from their phone, send it into an orthodontist to get basically an assessment of what they need? And she looked up from her book and turned to me and said, why wouldn't they? And that's where the idea was born. I got home and I knew that in my mind, I knew what I wanted to create, but I had no idea how to create. So I called a friend of mine that I had grown up with since high school. We've known each other for over 30 years. He had moved west around the same time I did. I'm in Denver, Colorado. He's in LA. His name's Jameson Stafford. And I pitched him on my idea. And I said, I think I need a website for this. What I didn't realize was I was building a full SaaS platform. Thankfully, Jameson, his wife, had just gone through the process of getting 3 different consultations with oral surgeons to get an implant done. And it resonated heavily with him because his wife had just, battled the LA traffic, going around to get, multiple consultations, and then the varying opinions of it all. Not just, what they were going to do from a treatment perspective, but costs and everything else. And it was just not a very efficient way for the consumer really to go about this process. But at the same time, too, you go to 3 of them and you're ultimately going to pick one. And for 2 people, it was a complete waste of time for the doctor. And so, Jameson said, I think you got something here. And that's kind of how the idea began.
That's great.
Wow. That is awesome.
Yeah, thanks.
Good for you. Holy cow.
From CEO to CEO, I want to know how to take your business from being founded in 2019 to being AAO endorsed in 2020. Give me your secrets here, sir.
Well, there is no secret to it, really. Advice that I would give is, if you have something that you believe strongly in and you know that there are benefits to it, persistence is really what pays off, and just not giving up on it. One of the things that I found early on from having conversations with the practices, with industry consultants like yourself, with marketing and web agencies tied to the industry, everybody thought the idea was great. And a lot of people said, look, this is where we're headed. The challenge was, and I say this a lot, but dentists have two speeds of adoption when it comes to new technology: slow and stop. Okay. And that's what we were battling between April 1st of 19 and COVID-19. We managed to scrape together, and I mean working hard, about 75 to 80 customers before COVID hit. And now we're just at about 1,000 in about 3 months.
That is growth.
That's some Brennan Burchard
That is
10x
growth.
your business kind of stuff right there. That's
Oh,
phenomenal.
it makes me so happy.
It's every entrepreneur's dream
/ nightmare.
and worst nightmare at the same time. Trust
It's
me.
awesome.
Yeah.
I have to ask, what do you do to keep your team members motivated and incentivized? And how many team members do you have? And what are you doing to, make sure they're staying on top?
Yeah, great question. And so when, before COVID hit, it was myself and Jameson, the two co-founders. We had one full-time employee, and we had a couple of account executives that were working for us on a very part-time basis as commission only. We now, less than 3 months later, are sitting at 28 employees. Most of them are full-time, some are contractors. But some of the things that we had working in our favor is just the job market. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people who were furloughed or let go. And we use that to our advantage. I reached out to a number of my doctors and said, hey, we think treatment coordinators would be great for SmileSnap from an setup and onboarding perspective, customer success. By chance, have you or anyone let go of anybody good that we could talk to? And literally in about 4 phone calls, I had 2 or 3 people working for me. So that was one way that we brought that excellent talent on. The other thing we had going for us was nobody could leave their house. So as we were putting in 16 and 18-hour days, 7 days a week, for example, I would ask, hey, does anybody want overtime? Or to my account execs, does anybody want to run any demos this weekend? And they're commission only. And the answer is like, what else are we going to do?
Mm-hmm.
So, we basically were all just working crazy hours. We had no way, shape, or form did we have enough processes and structure in place to manage that kind of growth. I think our saving grace was all the practices that we were bringing on were going through their own challenges with COVID and very much in disarray, that our total craziness didn't show up that much. So that actually helped us. I think as far as retention goes, most of them just understand that we're truly on the cutting edge of changing things, right? It's a paradigm shift within the orthodontic space to say, look, we used to do everything in the office from a consultation perspective, and now it makes sense and there's benefits and value to both the patients and the provider to do it outside of the office and do it digitally. And I think a lot of them really just love being part of that change.
Oh,
I love your strategy in that. Like I love your ability to pivot and see where an opportunity is and to be able to really flourish in a situation that's been very difficult for a lot of other people. I'm curious, what books are you reading, or who's your person? What podcasts are you listening to that gets you so like in tune with strategy and advancement of your business?
With all the spare time that you have.
Yeah.
what books you got?
Well, most of my reading took place before this. I'm just totally honest with you there. But I think the one book that really gave me the confidence that I had the right product market fit to do this was 0 to 1 by Peter Thiel. To me, that's just a great book to understand that if you're gonna jump into entrepreneurship and build a startup, you had best make sure that you are checking most of the boxes, if not all of them, when it comes to product market fit, right? Timing is huge. Think about this. If we would have started this 5 years ago or 4 years ago, we never would have made it to this point. And at some point, we would have run out of money and had to close up shop. If we would have waited until COVID hit, now you're behind the 8 ball and you're trying to play catch up with everybody out there. And so that's timing for us has been huge.
What has been the biggest challenge? Obviously, with growing pains like that, I've been involved with startups in the past. And when you kind of go from 0 to 100 overnight, and you go from 2 people to almost 30 people and staff. I mean, there's a lot that you're confronting, a lot of growing pains. What would you say has been the biggest part of that learning curve over the last 3 months?
Yeah, I would say that the biggest challenge for us is one that we're still going through right now. And that is not just getting practices to sign up for the software, get it set up and implement it into their website, but actually how do we now internally develop the processes and the workflow within the practice to make virtual consultations and or virtual appointments work for our practice. So what we've been doing over the last couple of months is building out what we're calling our customer success team, right? So we have customer support, which is very much more of a reactive approach for people that need help with the software and things like that. But for me, it's now that we've got a large customer base, how do we turn them into raving fans of SmileSnap and virtual consultations and appointments, right? So are we going to offer these to all new patients that call in or select ones? What's our scripting going to be? Who's going to assess the patient? Who's going to do the follow-up? How are we going to do the follow-up? And as you guys very well know, right, ortho practices are like snowflakes. No two are exactly alike. And so you have to have a lot of flexibility and customization, not only within the software, but then also as you advise them on best practices of implementing it into the practice, marketing it, and all of those different things. You've got to have a team of people that really understand their business, what their wants and needs are, what challenges they might face, depending on how their practice is set up, and being able to turn them into raving fans. That is the part that right now we are most focused on. I love growth, but I want to keep my customers and keep them happy.
And cheers to the word raving fans. It is my favorite word out there.
Cheers. Cheers.
Phenomenal book. So when it comes to AAO, like walk us through that. How did you get on the radar? I mean, obviously, it goes from being, hey, I'm a sponsor at a couple of events to suddenly them going, yeah, we see what you do. We like the cut of your jib.
Well, it really goes back a lot farther than I even remembered. And a lot of times you're putting in this legwork up front and you feel like sometimes it's not going anywhere, you're not getting any traction. And it wasn't just having some initial conversations with the AAO, but even other people within the industry that really helped, with this explosive growth. It was a lot of that work that we did up front. Specifically with the AAO, I had been talking to them about virtual consultations all the way back to last summer of 2019. And they loved the idea, they loved the concept. They definitely wanted us to be offering more of a virtual visit or virtual appointment, which at that time we weren't, we are now. And then, we had applied for the AAO's Ortho Tank event that was coming up at the meeting, which unfortunately was canceled. We had applied for their innovation award. We had been just getting on the radar, I think, more and more, and that helped. So what I did during all of this is I reached out to them and I said, look, we are in unprecedented times, and I feel like we have a solution that can really help your membership base not only weather this storm, but really set themselves up for what post-COVID is going to be. Is there anything that we can do to help you, help your membership? And a couple of conversations and phone calls, and we really did fast track the endorsement with them, and we're very, very grateful and honored because it really validated what we were doing and that we were doing it the right way. The relationship has been really strong. We waived our sign up and onboarding fee of $299. So on one hand, as an entrepreneur, I'm going, that is a lot of money.
I know.
It's worth it.
Yeah.
It's worth it.
But I feel like we built a lot of goodwill and we brought in a lot more customers because of it. So no regrets.
100%. Yeah.
Smart move.
No doubt.
Good move, sir. Where do you see this company going over the next 5 years? Do you have some goal lines, some benchmarks, or like, is this, how do you map this out moving forward? How do you lead your team after having such growth there? Are we going to rest for a little bit, or have things calm down? And then where is this going to go in the next couple of years?
Yeah, so a growth line is never perfectly linear, right? I mean, there's flat spots. The key is to get it to kind of continue to trend back upward. We knew that what we saw from a growth perspective in March and April was not going to continue forever. May was a very, very strong month for us, but June is a little bit slower. So what we are doing, because we've got captured now in the US, probably in the neighborhood of 10% of the orthodontic market, is we're getting ready to expand into the cosmetic and GP space. SmileSnap as a product from day one was built to work in other areas of dentistry and other services. And it's a much larger total addressable market for us. So we're getting ready to gear up from a sales and marketing perspective to really kind of shift our focus, not away from orthos, but really to start targeting cosmetic dentists that want to utilize virtual consultations for those services. So that's one way from a business standpoint that we're moving into another vertical or channel of the business. From a product standpoint, we're continuing to develop our live video platform for virtual appointments and the scheduling component of that. We just had kind of our third iteration of it, and it's working very well now. It has screen share. You can have up to 4 different parties join. It's full screen. It's a much better product than what we first rolled out, and that's just the way software works. Probably the biggest release we have coming in the next month or so is SmileSnap is going to be available as an app for both iOS and Android. And the beauty of that is it's really going to take this mobile responsive website that we have now and put it into a much cleaner and easier to use version on your phone. So for the doctors, for the treatment coordinators, truly on the go that want to use this anywhere, anytime, the app is going to make that a much better experience for them. And then we're also getting ready to launch a patient-facing version of SmileSnap too, which will really, really help.
All right, everyone, are you ready for the lightning round?
The lightning round!
Oh yeah, let's go.
All right, so it's quick and easy. Couple minutes on the clock. A lot of fun questions, quick answers, all right? First question, boxers or briefs?
Oh, briefs. Technically boxer briefs.
A little bit of both.
It's a hybrid. It's 2020.
Yeah, it is. And not the full length ones, because I don't like them running up my leg, kind of like right at the top of the thigh.
More of a trunk.
All right, I'm taking notes. All
Yeah,
right.
take notes. You know what he wants for Christmas. Okay, I got a question for you. How much would I have to offer you to eat a live wolf spider?
How big is it?
Like, they're about this big.
Silver
right?
dollar.
Right?
Yeah.
I thought they were
A little bigger.
Yeah,
That big?
Like, they're decent. And
I would have to say for that, it would probably be $5,000.
oh my gosh, that's so much cheaper than I would. Wow.
It's a steal.
That's a steal. I might even consider doing that at one of the events.
Entrepreneur, remember?
Yeah.
Entrepreneur.
Can't knock the hustle. I like it.
Yeah.
All right. Favorite entrepreneur, like role model hero, when you go back to like either history or more recent, like who's the one you're like, that's the guy. I want his bio. I look up to him.
Leadership.
I like that, you know.
Yeah.
So my favorite entrepreneur, and I just talked to him the other day, is a guy that I've known since kindergarten. His name is Chris Adelsbach. And I'm here to tell you that from the moment I knew Chris, he was always the smartest kid in class. He was our valedictorian in high school. And in 2007, he left GE Capital to start up his own financial company. And 6.5 years later, he sold it for almost $500 million.
Wow. Wow.
And he's done it the right way. He's a good person. And now he's helping other entrepreneurs, whether it be investing in their business, being a mentor for them, and just supporting them any way that he can. And he's one of the good guys that knocked it out of the park. And Chris has really supported me a lot over the last couple of years building this, of really just pushing me to be better, think differently, stay with it, remind me that there were times when he was not sleeping, when he was not eating well, not working out. So he really comes at it from a perspective, not just what are your numbers, what are your results, but how are you doing physically? How are you doing mentally? How is the relationship with your wife and kids? These are the ugly part of being an entrepreneur that oftentimes doesn't get talked about too much. So I really appreciated that by Chris, and he's someone that I've stayed close with over the last couple of years.
Awesome.
If I teach my kids anything or repeat it on the regular basis, it's that good guys always win. Always. So cheers to the good guys and cheers to the hustle.
Hey,
Yes.
to the hustle.
Yeah.
Cheers. Cheers.
That
I
was-
wish I had something to drink.
This is your first mistake.
This is my reason to drink wine whenever we air these. All right. So speaking of family, after looking at some of your fun photos on Facebook, you have an adorable family, hot wife, handsome sons. How old are your sons? And explain to me the best adventure you went on, because every photo you have of your family, you're on some cool adventure. So let us know.
Sure. So I have two boys, Evan and Chase. Evan is 17. He's going to be a senior. Chase is 13. He's going to be a freshman. So they will both be in high school next year. Carrie and I are getting ready in just a few days to celebrate 21 years of marriage.
Wow. Your
Yes.
marriage is legally able to drink.
Like it's that old. Yeah. Oh my God.
We were saying that. We're like, wow, we've known each other as long as if we had a baby that day and they would be going to the bar with us. So yeah, 21 years, and she's absolutely amazing. I couldn't have done this without her support, both emotionally, but also financially, right? She works from home. She's a full-time recruiter, and thankfully, right when she got back into working full-time was when I decided that I was gonna start this venture. So yeah, I'd say we've made a great team. Living in Colorado, there's always opportunity for adventure, but hands down, the best vacation we've ever taken and enjoyed was when we went to Costa Rica a couple of years ago. And so for me, my goal is to spend a lot of time in Costa Rica when I retire.
I can get behind that plan.
We could do that. That could happen.
Pura Vida, right?
I see
Pura
Straight
Vida.
Consulting's next
Remote offsite.
retreat.
All right. Let me know.
Yeah, or virtual TC mastery. Who knows?
I was in Costa Rica for a best friend's wedding. And we went to water slide through like the rainforest, and you had to wear a helmet. You had to wear a life vest. I felt like there was a diaper. There was a rubber diaper because you would have like scraped your skin
On
off.
the rock,
And
yeah.
It was no joke.
I thought the diaper was for something else, but
Oh.
okay, I've got a question for you. If you could pick like 3 celebrities to be in your posse,
Your entourage.
who's your entourage? If you could have any celebrities to be
Living
in
or dead?
Yeah.
Oh gosh. This is a great question. I would say first and foremost, I would want to hang out with Mark Wahlberg.
Oh my gosh. You totally look like him now that you said that. That
I
makes
know,
sense.
that's weird.
Yeah, I've been getting that since high school. I still get it. Yeah. Not as much anymore as I rock the gray in my beard, but yeah, I do get that. But he's just a cool, down to earth, fun to hang out with guy. So I would definitely put him in the mix. I would love to hang out in that group too, to bring Dennis Rodman into the mix.
Oh,
I just recently watched the documentary,
Michael
The Last
Jordan.
Dance.
Yeah.
And growing up in Metro Detroit, I was a huge Pistons fan in the 80s and early 90s when Dennis Rodman was, coming into the NBA and during the Bad Boys. But I think the guy's fun and I would want to party and hang out with him. The third one that I would put into that mix, Peyton Manning. I think the guy is one of the greatest football players of all time, but he's also funny. And I love hearing him talk about different sports stories that he's experienced in his lifetime. So, I think that would be an interesting mix too, of people to hear those three and hang out with them and drink plenty of beer together.
oh, that'd be fun. That'd be fun.
All right. Last question. So I just read that just not too long ago here, I think it was in May, you just closed your seed round of funding. So looking long term, and we're not going to hold you to this, IPO or stay private?
Yeah, so we were very fortunate to get that seed round closed. When you have explosive growth, it becomes a lot easier to raise capital. So was very glad to get that note closed. But no rest for the weary. We're turning right back around and going to raise some additional funding in terms of a Series A. But as far as, what does the long-term exit strategy look like? Right now, we're here to just build a great company with an awesome culture and deliver a very supportive product and technology for our customers so that they can grow their business. What that future looks like, Scott, at the end of the day, as long as I end up in Costa Rica, I'm a happy man.
Well, I can get behind that. That is a good
Yeah, I support that exit strategy.
I support that.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Well, awesome. Well, Greg, thank you so much for doing this. We so appreciate it. Thank you for taking the time out from your very busy schedule to do this. On behalf of the Straight Consulting team, we are super pleased with where your product is going, with where your company is going, and we want to support you and definitely help you out in any way that we can. So thank you again for doing this.
Of course, and thank you. It's actually a nice break from some of the daily grind. Your format is incredibly fun, and I knew it would be. From back when we first talked to first met, just 5 months ago, maybe it was, at the OrthoFi meeting here in Denver.
Yeah, in the before days,
the
before times.
Just 5 months ago. Yeah, before.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like forever ago, but it really wasn't that long. So thanks for having me and all the support, guys. It does. It really means a lot. Orthodontics is near and dear to my heart. Like I kind of said before, a lot of my good close friends and are orthodontists, and I think the profession as a whole sometimes has felt like it's under attack with so many changes that are going on and a lot of these disruptive technologies. But really, truly, at the end of the day, I mean, the reason we built SmileSnap and we're so passionate about it is to bring more patients into the specialist so that they can get the quality of care that they absolutely deserve to have. We're just trying to do it in a way that rings true and resonates more with a lot of today's consumers who want to do things digitally.
Yeah.
I love that.
Well, thank you again, Greg, for hanging out with us today. It was awesome to get to know you. You have a great rest of the week, and you reach out when you need to, okay?
All right, we'll do. Janelle, Scott, Tracy, thanks so much, everyone at Straight Consulting, and have a great rest of your week.
All right, guys. Well, that will do it for us from the Straight Talk studios. Thanks for tuning in. This has been episode 6 of Straight Talk. We'll see you next week.
See you next week.